Alright. I hope you guys ain't watching this on a big screen TV because it might be a little scary. Anyway, as I had promised, I wanted to share with you some more basic tool information. Here again, this is very basic. I'm aiming for the audience that has very, very little experience with tools and maintenance and things like that. I don't know if you can tell, but I am in my RV, and just like any other RV, it always needs something. And so, but I remembered that I hadn't put out a video in a little while, so I wanted to get that done and get it taken care of. And so here you go. I wanted to cover my drawer of pliers, which includes wire strippers and things of that nature. So let me go ahead and get that opened up and see if I can lock it in the open position, which that's not easy to do, but we'll see. And then we'll go from there. Talk to you in a minute. Okay. Well, this is drawer number 3 of my Snap-on toolbox. And it houses all of my pliers or the medium to small ones anyway. The large, extra large ones are in the bottom drawer. This is the 3rd drawer, and as you can see, it has quite an array, which is often what you need because often it needs to be tailored to the job. And so I'm going to go over probably not every single one, but every category. Okay, and so we'll try and keep this short and to the point, and then if anybody has any questions, you can always email me at joeonthegorvtech@gmail.com, and that's also the name of my YouTube page. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started. As you can see, I do have an array of tools from different manufacturers, and you know, just all kinds. I don't know if you can see that, but that's actually a set of Mac tools that I had bought that came in a kit of about 10 of those. And anyway, so these particular ones are locking pliers. These have kind of a rounded jaw on them, so that way they can hold round objects such as pipes or round bar or what have you. The tip is almost flat, so it can also hold flat stock steel. You can use these to help you with welding and all kinds of things, and it's fully adjustable. And so those come in really handy. They come in different sizes. There's a medium size. They come in different styles. This is a needle nose style. Here again, they lock into position when you need them. Let's see. So that's the small flat nose or needle nose style, and then this one's a little bit bigger. And they do come in handy when you're trying to hold things together to either bolt them or weld them or take measurements or what have you. But they come in a lot, very, very handy when you're by yourself and you don't have an extra pair of hands. These locking pliers are a lifesaver. This drawer again has a multitude of things, and we'll just go through them real quick. This particular item right here, don't know if you're familiar with this, but it is a combination electrical component thing, and by combination I mean it does a multitude of things. I don't know if you can see these holes right here, but what that does, it allows you to thread in a bolt. Let's say you got a small screw or something like that, like an M8 or something like that, and it's too long. The bolts are fairly soft, and so you can screw them into here and use this to cut that bolt down to your size, whatever you need. Okay, so that's what these holes are for. This area up here, not the very tip, but this area here, are for crimping electrical connectors, terminals, things of that nature. The very end of it is almost like wire cutters. You can actually cut small wire with that. The inside portion right here are for stripping wires. You know, before you put your terminals on, you want to strip the insulation off. Okay, and then you've got other crimping capabilities back here for bigger stud type things, like almost like small battery studs, that kind of thing. And so this one tool does a lot of different things, and that's what you want. You want a tool that can do a bunch of different things. Okay, so that's for electrical. This is more for a heavy-duty electrical. Some people call these linesman's pliers. You can see this area right here. It keeps your hands from slipping off. Lots of times these linemen have to wear gloves, and so that helps you keep the tool from slipping off your hand. It's a heavy-duty wire cutter, and something to grab the wires, because often you have to grab the wires and twist them. So that is a handy tool, okay, for certain instances. Now this, I really do love this. It is a wire stripper assembly. Some people call it an automatic wire stripper. You can put in your wire to the depth that you want, and then this tool will strip it. Take the insulation off. That's what's meant by stripping. Okay? And that's what you do before you put your terminals or your butt connectors or fasten two wires together, things of that nature. After you've stripped your wires, you can use something like this or the other one down there to actually crimp your terminals or butt, you know, whatever you got that needs to be crimped. And here again, these have wire cutters there, because sometimes you strip off a little bit too much wire, and you don't want that. You want just enough to go through the terminal itself. And you know, when it comes to electrical connectors, I'll do another video on that. So anyway, so sometimes you have to cut off a little bit more wire to make sure that the insulation and the butt connectors all fit together near perfectly. The less wire you have showing, the less chance there is for corrosion. And corrosion is the #1 enemy of electrical systems. You want to stay away from corrosion. Again, just general pliers, really long needle nose pliers. These ones have a curve to it. I think it's a 15-degree. This is a nice set. I got it at Costco, I think, and they had like a 8-piece set or 6-piece or whatever it was. And God, these things are great, because there's times when you have to get in somewhere and your regular needle nose are not long enough, and you need something with a little bit of a curve, and so those come in handy. You should always have several sizes of wire cutters, because you just never know. These are also called side cutters. Many years ago they were called different names, and I guess nowadays they don't consider it politically correct. Anyway, those of you who've been around for a while, you know what I mean. These are adjustable pliers. Some people call them channel locks. We talked about that briefly, how some tools have adopted the company's name when they should, you know, it's not really that accurate. These are adjustable pliers. Some people call them plumbing pliers. Some people call them pipe wrench pliers. I mean, there's, you know, different names for them. They're basically adjustable or adjustable jaw pliers. Very handy in a multitude of situations. A very high torque capacity, whereas if you didn't have a crimper for your terminals, okay, if you didn't have a crimper, and if you were using basic tools such as utility knife to cut the insulation away from your wire, you can actually use these to crimp your terminals on there, you know, if you had to. Okay, so again, long needle nose pliers with a curve. Okay, this one's a 45-degree. Here again, these all come in handy in different situations. Along in the pliers here, here's your regular needle nose pliers. An older set. You know, these things do come in handy in certain situations. So along in here, I've got my heavy-duty scissors. Just a cheap set I think I got from Harbor Freight. You know, if they break, I just go get another one. You know, like $4 or something like that. Smaller set of adjustable pliers. Okay. Let's see, another set of locking. This one right here, these are called tin snips. You have 3 different styles, I guess you would call it. You have a right hand, a left hand, and a center. okay, or a right, left, and center. And the difference is the angle of which you would want to cut it. You know, I'm not an expert in sheet metal, but I know that they have a purpose. And so, but you know, I use these for everything. I'm not that particular as far as using, you know, the specific tool for exactly what it needs to be used for. I do have 2 or 3 pair of those. I think I have some more in the bottom drawer or something like that. These are interesting. Part of that set that I got from Costa that I was talking about. These come in handy. You can see the loop at the end. The reason that these come in handy, or one of the purposes, just an example, is to pull off hoses. Sometimes a hose is somewhere where you can't reach it, and you don't want to smash it with a regular pair of pliers. Sometimes, like if it's a 1/2 inch or something like that, a little bit bigger than this, you can grab this and then work it off. So it's good for hoses. You can also use it on the spark plug boot. Sometimes you can't reach the boot, so you can reach down there with this and then again work it off gently. If you're going to reuse the boot, you want to be very gentle with those. More side cutters. This is actually a cutter for soft pipe like PVC Schedule 40. I wouldn't use it on Schedule 80. Schedule 80 is heavy duty. But this is basically a light duty pipe cutter for plastic pipe. Okay. You can also use it on other things like rubber and things like that, but that's not the best for rubber. For rubber, especially hose, you would want something like this. This is oops, sorry. I had to take the lock off of it. And as you can see, it comes with a really sharp blade and a bed area right here where you would lay your hose in, and this would cut it from the center out. And the reason that's important is because you don't want to deform your hose. And so it's important to have a really sharp blade, and then it cuts it, you know, so it doesn't deform it while it's cutting it. So let me see if I can get that lock back on there. Come on. Oh boy, it's hard to do that with one hand. There we go. Alright, so another thing that comes in handy, especially when you're working with really fine wire, you know, if you're soldering something, these come in handy. I've used them in a multitude of situations. This is my newest tool. It's not really a plier, obviously. It is a heavy-duty riveter, a rivet gun, I guess some people call it. And these right here are the adjustable, changeable heads for the different size of rivets. See, that's your biggest one, and then it goes a little smaller, a little smaller, a little smaller. So you can use it for different sizes of rivets. You use rivets to put together 2 pieces of sheet metal or some light-duty. I had to start it again. Sorry about that. Yeah, you can do it use it for light-duty steel, and but mostly sheet metal is what that's for when you rivet things together, or to rivet some things onto wood, which happens in a motorhome or an RV quite often, actually. So if it's thin steel and it's being mounted onto thin wood, you can use a rivet. That's not a problem. Adjustable wrenches, we covered that in my other video. And adjustable pliers, here again. So we've covered pretty much everything in here already. Like I said, I want to keep it short. So anyway, in case you guys were wondering, this isn't really a pliers, and it doesn't really, you know, fit into any particular category. But this is actually something to help you put hoses on. In particular, water hoses from your radiator to your engine. You know, this is great because lots of times the hoses are very tight and they won't go onto your thermostat housing or the radiator neck. And so this you would put in the hose and work it gently so as to not to damage the hose, and that would help you install it. So that's what's good about that. Or if your hose is, you're trying to get it off and it's corroded on there, you can work this up into the hose and then work it around and break the hose away from the housing. So that's, you know, it's used in many ways. This is kind of interesting. I'm not sure why it's in this drawer, but this is a multi-purpose thing right here. This is a a tool to adjust your spark plugs, the gap in your spark plugs. And it gives you the numbers there. And it gives you the metric equivalent on the other side. So that's pretty cool. And then a little flat tip screwdriver multi-purpose. You have your very small one there, and then a number 1, a number, or actually different sizes, okay? So that would probably be like your 1/8 inch, and then 3/16, 1/4 inch, and 5/16. So you have 4 different sizes on this, which is pretty cool. I don't know if I've ever used it. And then the other thing that this comes in handy with, you have things such as your phone, or now I just bought a jetpack for internet service. To get to the battery, if you ever have to replace a battery, you can use this to stick it in there and open it up. So it comes in handy for those kinds of things. Alright, well, I think that's enough. I think that's it for right now. Like I said, if you have any questions on any of this stuff, I'm going to continue going through the drawers one at a time and just try and keep these videos short and sweet. So again, questions, please email me at joeonthegorvtech@gmail.com. And thanks for watching. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye now.